Trump's second impeachment trial begins. Joe Biden is the gift that keeps on giving. The party of love versus the party of hate. And the idea of Antifa. All that and more on this week's edition of the Modern Monologue. Trump's second impeachment trial begins this week, already did begin, and the first vote that they did was a vote on whether it's even constitutional to impeach someone who's no longer president. Well, obviously, the Congress, with the Democrat majority, voted that it is constitutional to impeach them, which that's not their decision to make. That's the Supreme Court's decision to make. But I guess if Congress wants to change the Constitution just by snapping their fingers, they can do that. I guess they can interpret the Constitution if they choose to, even though the sole purpose and the sole responsibility of interpreting the law is the judiciary. The Supreme Court that's their job. That's what they're supposed to do. So the fact that Congress is voting, this is constitutional. Well, that's not your job. It's not your right to vote whether it's constitutional. But 44 Republican senators voted that it's not constitutional. This isn't even constitutional to do this vote, to have this trial. So even if all 44 of them who voted that this isn't constitutional, they're somehow miraculously swayed that not only is it constitutional, but also Trump's guilty. They need at least 11 more of them. Yeah, 11 more of them to vote to convict. So not only did they vote that it's not constitutional, they voted to vote that it's constitutional, and B, that they want to convict for this to have any ground to stand on. They were running on a insurrection was led by the president. Well, the riot started before the speech was done, and if you use words that people took a certain way, people do it all the time. People misinterpret things all the time. So you're going to impeach every single person to do that? Maxine Waters said it to attack people in the streets. Said if they're going to die, if somebody from the Trump's cabinet or whatever is in a diner, go up to them and make them feel uncomfortable. Oh, then Rand Paul gets run out of a diner, out of a restaurant with his wife. He's running for his life. Anybody accuse Maxine Waters of inciting that? They should have. But no, it only happens if it's Trump's fault. We only do if it's Trump's fault. So, of course, not only are they saying that inside this wall, there was bombs planted a day before the speech at the DNC and the RNC. Well, why people plant bombs based on his speech? If it happened the day before. Everybody who was killed in the Capitol was a Trump supporter, including the police officer, who they said was beaten to death with a fire extinguisher, which we now learned he had a stroke. It was probably a stress-induced stroke. I wouldn't doubt that. But he had a stroke. He died of a stroke. So he wasn't attacked and beaten to death by Trump supporters. The only people who died, one was a Trump supporter who got shot, and one person we suspect was trampled. One person had a heart attack, one person had a stroke. So nobody killed anybody in the name of Trump. And did he say things? I personally think that he said Mike Pence had powers that Mike Pence didn't have. I think he said that Pence should have stopped the count and sent the delegates back to their. That I don't think Pence had that right, and I think he acted correctly in not stopping the vote and letting the vote happen. I don't think that was his right. I think Pence acted correctly. I think Trump was desperate and angry and made a statement that he shouldn't have made. But if that's the worst he did, then there's way worse things that have been said and done, and he certainly didn't incite anything. Nobody was attacked. AOC said that Ted Cruz tried to murder her. Well, she wasn't even anywhere near the building. She wasn't even in the Capitol building when it was attacked, and she said she was scared for her life. They were nowhere near you. They were a third of a mile away from where you were. Outrageous. So they're trying to impeach him when he's no longer president anymore. This is a clown. This is a circus. I mean, America's become a laughing stock. I mean, not that they weren't before, but Trump did good things for America. People didn't like his personality, didn't like how he tweeted, and like that he was a celebrity and whatever like that. But we're not even following our own laws anymore. You want to stop people from being radicalized? Follow the rules. Follow the laws. You can't I don't know where in the Constitution it says you can impeach president because quote unquote I don't like him. That's I mean they're never impeached. They're just impeaching people now because they don't like them. That's really all it comes down to. We have to find a way to impeach him because we don't like him. I mean that's what they've proven. Impeachment shouldn't be something you just a term you just throw around. Treason shouldn't be a term you throw around. But that's what they're doing. It's disgusting. It's horrible. This is not America. Not even a little bit. So they're impeaching him for something that in the FBI said that they were investigating these attacks, these capital attacks, for months before it even happened. So how could a speech incite something when it was being planned way before the speech? Seems kind of fake to me. Seems kind of fishy to me. But Trump needs to be removed, barred from ever running again? Guess what? It's our prerogative. That's what Congress doesn't seem to understand. Even if they impeach and they remove a president, if enough people want to vote him back in, isn't that their right? Who are you to say it's not our right? Pathetic. Ted Cruz has been good in this. Josh Hawley's been really good in this. Rand Paul's been really great in this. So I commend them for sure. Kind of a similar note, if you speak out against something, you're wrong. They're trying to remove Marjorie Taylor Greene from Congress. She's a weirdo, no doubt about it. But Nancy Pelosi, thank God, Nancy Pelosi isn't weird. I mean, I couldn't imagine. Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, was weird. AOC was weird. You don't want weird people in Congress. Man, they have to all leave. Marjorie Taylor Greene's a weirdo, no doubt about that. But you can't remove her from Congress. Her people just voted her in. I can see she's been there for forever. And, she hadn't been, but it's 2-year term. So she just got elected, just got brought in the House. Cori Bush is normal. Cori Bush saying anybody we disagree with should be thrown out of Congress. The rhetoric needs to stop. It's outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. So they're doing an investigation, and they're just having people give their opinion. It's what it's become. So the last impeachment was, too. In my opinion, Trump did a bad thing. Okay, well, does that help in court? Of course it doesn't. But again, it doesn't have to because it's just what the senators feel like doing. The senators can vote to impeach him because they don't like his hair. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. That's how impeachment works. You have to bring articles of impeachment against somebody, and then you can impeach them because you don't like them. It is absolutely, it's a shame because that used to mean something, but it doesn't anymore. The term impeachment means nothing anymore. It really doesn't. And that's something you throw words around like that. That's what happens. Cancel culture is out of control. We'll talk about that more at a later date. There's so much more I'd love to get to. I would love to do one of these shows every single day. I would absolutely do one of these shows every single day. It's always a fun time, and so much material. I would say tweet me at Yo Grab a Gabba. I'm not on Twitter anymore. I deleted that a while ago. I have Sam Yo Grab a Gabba. I am your host of the show about Modern Monologue. This is our 4th episode. We've been trying to pretty much put these out once a week, pretty much since right around the time of the Capitol riot. We've been putting out one pretty much once a week. And trying to do more as much as we can. I can do a show, and I can do a show pretty much every single day at this point. There's so much material, and I gotta thank Joe Biden for that. President Joe Biden. He is the gift that keeps on giving. If you pay any attention, I was talking earlier. I said, I want things to go well in this country. I want there to be prosperity. I want there to be good stuff. I want Joe Biden to be successful. I know he's not going to be. I know he's going to be an abysmal failure. I know he's going to be an absolute train wreck, an absolute disaster. I know he's going to be. I don't want him to be. I want him to be successful. I want him to, unify the country, actually, for real. I want him to do good. I want him to help, bring prosperity and economic success and all that stuff back to the country. Joe Biden said in June of 2020 that anybody who rules by executive order is a dictator, referring to Trump signing executive orders. So, just to kind of give you a little history, in the first 7 days of a presidency, Bill Clinton signed 0 executive orders. George W. Bush signed 1. Barack Obama signed 1. Or maybe 3. Whatever. I think Donald Trump signed 3 or 4 in the first 7 days. Joe Biden has signed 33 executive orders in 7 days. Who's a dictator? Joe. He is. He just gives so much great material. His press secretary, I believe her name is Raggedy Ann, or the Hacky Sacky, I think her name is, because she gets bounced around from administration to administration. That was a great line. Great line. I like that. Thank you, Staff Sergeant Bellavia, for that one. So I mean, I could go on all day, every single day. I could have new material to talk about this clown, an 80-year-old corrupt career crime boss, basically, is now the president. I mean, and that leads to, I guess the third thing I want to talk about here, which is the party of hate. You mean to tell me that Joe Biden, this curmudgeon-y, old, angry clown, is the most popular presidential candidate in the history of the country? He was more inspiring than both Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. Barack Obama, one of the most popular presidents of all time, was not even close. Did not even have close to the support that Joe Biden did. Really? Come on. The only support, quote unquote, Joe Biden had was he has a D next to his name. He has a D also, but he has a D next to his name, and he's not Trump. I mean, he ran the same campaign as Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton, who was in politics for just about as long as Joe Biden was, ran on "I'm not Trump." Okay, well, it's like if you're the most successful person in your field, do you run on the fact that do you promote the fact that you're not somebody else? Is that like your claim to fame that you're not somebody else? If you're good at your job, right? If you're the best contractor in the world, do you run on the fact that, hey, I'm not the other guy? Right? If you're the best teacher, if you're the best educator in the world, do you run on the fact that, hey, I'm not the other teacher? That's what's great about me. I'm not the other teacher. If you're the best, singer, performer, do you run on the fact that you're not the other performer? I mean, you don't run on that if you're good at what you do. If you can promote what you've done, like it should have been close. Trump should have got trounced in both elections. Should have got destroyed in both elections. Because if you were a good candidate, you say, look what I've done. Look at my record. I've done this and this. I've done this and this, and signed this bill and did on this law and created this. But no, I'm not that guy. Okay, if that's what your claim to fame is, that you're not that guy, I guess good for you. It's sad. It's really sad. But Joe Biden, again, running on "I'm not Trump." Okay, so that's all you're running on. I mean, you're voting for Joe Biden because he's not Trump. That's what he wanted you to vote on. He wasn't going to tell you what he was doing. He said, I'm not banning fracking. No, I am banning fracking. No, I'm not going to ban fracking. I'm going to ban fracking. Day one, he kills the Keystone XL pipeline. So when people come in and all of a sudden, why is gas prices so high? I don't know. You voted for Joe Biden. That's why gas prices are so high. He killed the pipeline. Gas prices are going up. It'll be $4 a gallon by summer. I don't want it to be the case, but it's going to be the case. When you make it more difficult for people to get gasoline, they have to import it instead of having it come from Canada. What do you think is going to happen? It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. Because you're this pipeline, because it might just displace the polar bear. Guess what? The polar bear will find somewhere else to live. They adapt. They'll be fine. Meanwhile, John Kerry, the person who's in charge of climate change, one of the richest people on planet Earth, who drives his private jet everywhere, is telling us that we can't drive cars. You can drive your private jets all over the world. That's fine, but the average person can't drive a car that runs on gasoline. The hypocrisy is just never ending. Yes. John Kerry. Yeah, he can lecture us, please. But again, it's hate versus love. That's what it is. I mean, they called Trump a cult leader. I mean, because people loved him. Because he did so much great work for him. But he gave up, it's like, in any other, if Trump was anybody else, The story would have been a rich man gives up everything he has to help the average man. The rich guy, the rich famous celebrity, gives up everything, gives up his wealth, his fortune, his lifestyle to try to make everybody's lives better. But since they hate Trump, it's not what happened. He's a cult leader. People love him. You guys don't know what that's like on the left. You don't know what that's like. I mean, people, maybe Obama, you guys knew it with Obama. We could have said Obama was a cult leader. He worshipped himself very, very well. And guess what? So is Trump. And you all your personality, that's fine. But to say he's a cult leader, I mean, just because nobody likes or supported Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden doesn't mean that Trump's a cult leader. When you vote for somebody because you hate the other person, I mean, I see all the time people say, "Oh, Trump, he's such a Karen. He was when he's going after Twitter, because they said they're censoring him permanently. Even if he becomes president again, even if he becomes president again in 2024, which I don't think he's going to. I don't know if I even want him to. But he says if he runs again in 2024 and becomes president again, they're still going to keep his account censored. Still keeping his account censored, so that you're going to censor the president. You can't tweet. You're the president of the United States. You can't tweet because we disagree with your opinion. That's it. There's no reason. He didn't violate any rules. And if he did violate rules, guess what? Every other congressman did, right? The Ayatollah of Iran has a Twitter account. Can post pictures of him beheading people. Kathy Griffin can have a severed Trump head as her profile picture. And that's okay. But if you disagree with Twitter and the boss at Twitter, you get shut down. So it's people say, oh, Trump is such a Karen with Twitter. Let me ask you this, guys: if it was happening to you, what would you do? I talked about this before. Classical liberals against conservatives. I don't mind classical liberals because they stand up for the Constitution. That we disagree on a lot of things, abortion rights and all that stuff, but they believe in freedom. Libertarians and classical liberals, they believe in freedom. We may not agree on everything, right? But we both believe in freedom. And the progressives don't. The progressives are like, well, we should shut it down everybody who voted for Trump. Because nobody who would ever vote for Trump. 80 plus million people. That's who. And, they say, well, who cares? Shut them all down. They don't deserve a platform. Blah blah blah. You know what? If it happened to you, you'd be saying something. But it's not happening to you, so you don't care. Well, if it does, someday it may. Someday it may happen to you. Someday you may have an opinion that goes against the status quo. That isn't what you're allowed to talk about. You may have an opinion like that someday. And guess what? You're going to want to be able to voice that opinion. And you're going to realize, oh, cancel culture sucks. Yeah. Person wrote some nasty articles about Trump, and they were laughing how everybody got, everyone else getting canceled, and then they themselves got fired. It says, well, I'm a real person. Yeah. So are the people you helped get canceled. You can't base, it's so sad and pathetic to base what you do on your life based on who you hate. That's very unhealthy. That's where we are now. We hate Trump, we hate his supporters. Okay. Well, you hate half the country. Roughly. Half the country. Even if you believe your guy won legitimately, which I have my doubts. But even if you won legitimately, what's the difference? If you have the majority, why can't you let the minority speak? If your guy won fair and square, why did they have all these people at the Capitol to defend it? It's strange. It's a very bizarre world. There's so many things I never thought I'd see in my lifetime. Never thought I'd see a president getting impeached because they don't like him. I would never thought I'd see people so willing to throw away each other's rights. Throw away each other's rights. You don't have a right to do anything. You don't have a right to open your business. You don't have a right to go to work. You don't have a right to go to school. You don't have a right to do anything. Because it doesn't affect me. How selfish of you. How dare you. How dare you. How dare you. That was my Greta. And then there's one other thing I want to mention here and talk about here is obviously about the party of hate, party of love. That's there's no doubt. Republicans love in the right way, the right side. Republicans are kind of just a name at this point. I really don't think Republicans are anything, but the people on the right, the conservatives, they believe in freedom. They believe in, conservatives are always the kind of people who say, you know what, I don't agree with what you say, but you have the right to say it. Liberals, on the other hand, and especially the progressives and totalitarian liberals, they're like, I don't agree with what you say, and you can't say it because it offends me. That's the difference. I don't agree with pretty much anything liberals say, but I believe they have the right to say it. The only speech that needs to be protected is controversial speech. So, one last thing I do want to mention here is we go through here. This is Antifa. Let's talk about that real quick, because Joe Biden says it's just an idea. It's not an organization. It's not, BLM and Antifa are basically the same thing. They basically have merged at this point, right? And BLM cares nothing about Black lives. I'm just gonna throw it out. You guys, if you think Black Lives Matter, like I do, supporting the movement, the organization BLM, you're doing nothing to help Black lives. Nothing. Period. Black Lives Matter has taken more Black lives than it has helped, without exception. Caused more damage, caused more harm. Antifa, anti-fascism. They're still rioting in the streets in Seattle right now. But they're just an idea. They're not actually people. It's not even an organization. Okay, Joe. Well, that organization, that idea is burning down one of your cities right now, Joe. And you can't say anything about it because you funded them. You're going to bail them out of jail. Your vice president, they're going to bail them out of jail for burning down cities. So let's talk about Antifa. What Antifa actually is. Anti, A-N-T-I, it stands for anti or against. Fa, which is short for fascism. Anti-fascism. Now, to understand that, fascism is part of socialism. It's a sect of socialism. Basically, in fascism, the government controls the means of operation. Kind of like when GM got a bailout by Obama. He says, okay, you can get a bailout, but you have to make more electric cars. I'll give you a bailout and save your company, but you have to make what we want you to make. That's, in essence, fascism. So, why were they against Trump, who was against Obama? Shouldn't they be against Obama, the closest thing we had to a fascist in our country's history? Well, because like the jihad, and I'm going to make a comparison here. It's like the jihadists, when you take a part of the Quran that talks about eliminating infidels, and twist that to mean you should kill anybody who's not Muslim, anybody who doesn't believe in the teachings like you do, quote unquote. Even Sunni and Shiite have to kill each other. It makes no sense. But you take the Quran, the teaching of if someone disagrees with you, they're a quote unquote infidel, and you have to eliminate them. Well, in the Quran also says not to kill. So, but we don't want to talk about that part, right? They don't talk about the recruiters for the jihad and for the terrorist organizations. They don't talk about that part. They want you to kill the people who don't agree with you. But that's not what it's supposed to mean. You can interpret it that way if you choose, but it means to convert them. Convert those who don't believe. Convert them to... Every religion wants to convert people. Judaism, Christianity, Buddhism, they all want you to convert people. So to say that the jihad or eliminating the infidels is what the Quran teaches, that's just not true. It's simply not true. But you can twist it and make somebody think that, right? Somebody who isn't educated, who doesn't know what teachings actually mean, you can twist that and make them want to go kill themselves because that's what they're supposed to do for the sake of their religion. In the name of Allah, Allah doesn't want you to kill anybody. Antifa is anti-fascism. So they're against Nazis. Well, because Nazis were fascist. Yes, they're actually socialist. The Nazi Party was the National Socialist Party in Germany. They were socialist, and fascism is part of that. But why are we going after white supremacists? When did fascism become white supremacy? It's very, very different. And they're saying now, Biden said the biggest threat to America is white supremacy. Actually, he said it in his old doddering, stupid voice. But white supremacy and fascism are very, very different. Fascism is an economic thing. White supremacy is a racist thing. Race and economics are not the same thing. So because Hitler was a white supremacist who killed people who weren't white, that means fascism is white supremacy. And it's not true. So because you think that Trump's a white supremacist, Antifa has to go after him because they're anti-fascism. But socialism is not what that. You're going after socialism. You should be going after socialism, not after white supremacy. Okay, and it's not even white supremacy. I mean, Trump's not white supremacist. There's no white supremacy. White supremacists, there are some in the country. Actually, there aren't, but there's plenty of black supremacists and Mexican supremacists and everything else. Okay, there's plenty of other supremacists out there. But if you're Antifa, you're going after white supremacists because they're evil and white supremacists. And who I don't like white supremacists either. I don't think any race is superior or supreme to anybody else. I think we're all the same. We're all born in the same country with great opportunity. Make the most of it. But to twist the message of Antifa to we have to go after white supremacists, and therefore any right-wing person is a white supremacist, so we have to take them out. Well, that's not what Antifa is. If you want to do it, then change the name of it to anti-white supremacy, and you'll go after like 2%, go after like 0.002% of the country. But it's like I'm aligning with socialists like Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden showing himself to be a bit of a socialist himself. Just saying, the way he's acting. Look what he's signing. Look at his executive orders. He says you're a dictator if you sign executive orders. He signed 33 of them in 7 days. Can't wait for that damn pen to run out of ink. So we're anti-fascism. So to take out fascism, we're going to align with fascism. That's Antifa. How much sense does that make? Brilliant. It makes as much sense as a jihadist killing themselves in the name of a god who's anti-killing. They're killing themselves so they can kill other people to honor a god that's against killing. That's what the jihadists do. That's what these Muslim extremists do. Which is similar to Antifa, who's burning down businesses, attacking minority groups, minority-owned businesses, burning down cities where minorities live, and aligning with socialists in an attempt to fight socialism. It's outrageous. It's stupid. But when nobody understands what's going on, right? I mean, look at any millennial. I talk to any millennial, anybody my age or younger, I automatically assume they're a socialist. Automatically just assume. And they don't know anything about history. You can talk to any millennial and mention any time period in history. You know, someone once said that millennials believe that the world started at their birth. And, you know, I tend to believe that that's what they really do think. Because they don't know anything about history. Everything that's happening is happening for the first time it's ever happened before. Never before have we seen this. Well, we have. Like, a couple years ago. But you weren't around then, so I guess it didn't really happen. If something in the world happened, and a millennial was around to see it, did it really happen? You know. They're talking about comparing the kind of, you know, going back to the wrapping up with where we started with the impeachment trial. They're saying the impeachment, impeaching him because the insurrection, the attack on the Capitol, was basically like 9/11, or like the Rwanda genocide, or like Pearl Harbor. I guess then you don't know anything about those events. You've never even heard those events. I guess anything can read anything. Trump's Hitler. Okay, ask somebody who was a Jew in the 1940s, 1930s, if Trump is Hitler. I have a feeling they'll say probably not. And how dare you? I'm sure that's what they would say. But if we don't know history, we don't know what's going on in the world. We just see an article on social media, a headline on social media from a journalist who's actually an opinion writer. But they pretend to be a journalist, so we have to listen to what they say because they make the news. Well, that's supposed to make the news. They're supposed to report on the news. So that's where we are, and we're going to continue to go unless we learn history. I recommend everybody going back and finding history books. Some will contradict each other because all history is scrubbed. None of it is actually written exactly as it was. History is always written by somebody with a bias. So find as many primary sources, as many first-hand accounts as you can, and do your research. Do your homework. I'll continue to give you the information I have as often as I have. You know, if you're here, you're probably because you don't trust the media. You know, why did QAnon become a thing? Why do people believe in conspiracy theories? People all the time say, oh, these are all conspiracy theories. All these Trump supporters thinking these things are all conspiracy theorists. Well, if the media did their job and asked questions, and when people had questions, the media asked those questions, or let the people who had the questions ask the questions, they would have to find their news through other sources. CNN and Fox and MSNBC, all the ratings are terrible. People on YouTube have more following. Well, why do you think that is? Before I wrap up here, I'd like to ask you to please go ahead and subscribe to the bottom of the video so you get all the updates. You can email the show directly at pavementroadproductions@gmail.com. You'll like us on Facebook while we still have a Facebook account, facebook.com/pavementroadproductions. Like I said, email us, pavementroadproductions@gmail.com. And, share the post, tell your friends. We gotta get information out to people because all they're doing is hearing hearing regurgitated facts that aren't even real. They read a headline somewhere on some blog, and now they're an expert on the subject matter. And we've got to get the truth out. And they're gonna try to keep shutting it down. We've got to keep getting it out. The quicker we get it out, even if they do shut it down, at least we get the information out, and we can help each other stay sane. For now, I'll leave it there. I'll get more videos out and more podcasts out as soon as I can. And I appreciate you listening and subscribing, all those fun things. For now, I'll leave it there. And like I said, I'd love to get out more commentary posts. And the more information, the more this goes around and spreads, the quicker it goes, becomes viral and all that stuff. The more I'll be able to go ahead and record more and more often. For now, appreciate it. Thanks for listening. And until next time, take care. Bye-bye.